Hi, everyone, and welcome. I am your host, Erin Moody, here on behalf of Orlando Insight Group. Each episode, we dive into real conversations with technology leaders, innovators, and experts who are shaping the future of data, IT, and cybersecurity. Our goal is simple to give you practical insights, real world strategies, and expert perspectives that you can use to drive smarter decisions and stronger results for your business. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll go ahead and introduce our guest for today. Her name is Nataliya, and she is a sales director at Tech Launch Solutions, a national technology brokerage helping businesses simplify how they buy and manage IT. She has deep experience leading digital transformation and IT strategy for Fortune 500 companies. She now helps organizations unlock growth by sourcing scalable, cost-effective tech solutions. At Tech Launch, she works with clients to reduce vendor costs and implement technologies that drive real business impact, all without the high-pressure sales tactics or hidden fees. So welcome, Nataliya. We are so excited to have you on the show today.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It was a great introduction. You said it all. Very excited to be here. Thank you for the invite, and I think it's going to be a really good conversation.
Absolutely. So just to get us started, what inspired you to join Tech Launch Solutions? Is there a market gap that you were trying to fill, or what kind of led you to start with them?
Yeah, I think a great question to start with. I think it really came down to just seeing the clear recurring gap in the way businesses were sourcing and procuring and also managing their technology. And that's pretty much the gap that we are here to help solve and hopefully make the business's life easier. That's what I see in my experience. In general, I spent years in tech and data space. And then I consistently saw companies, including my previous organization, and mostly I would say mid-sized ones, that were overpaying for software, that cloud services, infrastructure, and so on. And sometimes there are just lack of internal resources for, let's say, simply as navigating vendor negotiations and just relationships or managing renewals and everything around that. And also assessing whether they were truly getting the value from the technology that they had. So
Mhm.
that's why we're here. That's what the gap is. And Tech Launch is here to fill it. And that's why the company was built in the first place. And I usually like to refer to myself and Tech Launch as an extension of our client's team as their strategic sourcing partner. And then that way we help businesses optimize their IT spend and cover better vendor pricing essentially and procure the right technologies that they have need for wherever they are in their journey. And also to add, I ultimately have been in sales all my career, right? And I joined this company, and it's technically not sales because instead of pushing one product here, we actually help companies finding what's that product is for them. We're vendor agnostic and also delivering cost transparency and smarter procurement and obviously faster ROI. There's nothing more important than ROI and revenue for companies and businesses, of course.
Yeah, obviously they're definitely focused on that bottom line.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you guys offer a really great service. Also love the transparency with the pricing. That is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we have our marketplace of 700 or actually more than 700 providers already. So that's why we're vendor agnostic. We're there to provide options to our clients and then they can choose the best one to go with. And then also we get paid by the providers. So that's why
Okay.
clients like working with us. Our services are free to them.
Nice. Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Definitely gave us a good picture on the company and why you chose to be a part of it. Um, Jumping into a little bit more specifics, is there maybe a pivotal moment or a tech solution that you implemented that significantly transformed a client's business operations? So, kind of like a test case or a case example you might be able to give us some information on?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually think that the really great example that comes to mind is when one of my clients were preparing for their Series B funding round, and then we were able to help them uncover significant savings for their AWS bill. So they already were on AWS, they were paying almost $3 million annually. And then
Mhm.
some people would say that it's not too much, but then for a lot of companies it is, especially if you're raising money. So we
Right.
were able to cut their costs, and it was $250,000 in annual costs.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's significant, I would say, right?
Yes,
And then
yes.
honestly, by truly optimizing their cloud usage and pricing, of course, which is our goal here, we not only made their financials attractive to investors, which is was our goal in the main part there, but we also enabled them to actually reinvest those savings into other growth initiatives, into essentially business value and whatever they're actually working towards. So it's clear both operational efficiency, but also fundraising success in their case. So I think that's
Yeah,
a good example.
that's huge. Like
Yeah,
$250,000. Like I'm sure there is
yeah,
a lot they can do with that. Awesome
exactly.
example. I love that. All right, great. So thinking through your approach, how do you typically guide businesses through a digital transformation, especially maybe those who are a little bit hesitant about jumping into new technologies?
You're right on point. I've been in contact with a lot of people, have a lot of clients, and some of them are quite hesitant. Sometimes it's because they had bad experience in their
Mhm.
procurement process in the past, right? Some of them just because they don't see a clear ROI, and also, of course, some of the clients or potential clients, they're just not familiar with technology brokers. That's why it just takes that time to build the relationship, build some
Right.
trust between us, right? So I think that's a normal process. And also, some people would say it's a sales process, right? But as I already said, I'm not quite selling. I'm here as their advisor, as their partner to help them. And I think the best approach to take is practical and just focus on the business value first. What is the
Mhm.
actual goal? What are we working towards? Why is this technology that you have is important, and why how much you're paying for it is important? What are you actually paying for? How can we optimize and help you? So I think that's the goal there, to focus on the business and then uncover of what's actually involved there. What are the steps and how we can help? And that's also how you build trust and relationship with the client.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. People want to work with someone that they
Yeah,
like, value, trust, all of those good qualities.
yeah,
So that I would say that that seems like a really good process.
yeah.
What about some common misconceptions companies might have about IT optimization? How do you address those? And can you maybe give us some of the misconceptions that you tend to run into?
Yeah, I would say the biggest misconception would be that IT leaders can, do everything on their own. They know everything, and I'm not
Right.
trying to be mean here, but I am a big believer that everything you do it in a team. That's why we
Hmm.
build that trust. That's why we build those relationships, and I think it's very important to utilize those resources in the market that are available to you, either paid or free, like for example, Tech Lunch, right? And then explore new opportunities, learn, evolve. That never stops, right? And then another misconception to mention is that IT optimization just means cutting costs. But in reality, it's about doing more with less and making smarter, more strategic decisions in your technology and how it will help your business and how it will help all of the employees to make their life easier and when they work on their own or together. And I also think that a lot of IT leaders sometimes think that IT optimization is pretty much starting from the beginning and tearing everything apart, but it's not quite true. Sometimes the small changes, such as renegotiating vendor contracts or maybe eliminating some of the technology that you have that's maybe redundant or they have redundant capabilities in them, right? That all makes the small changes, but they make a big impact in the long run. So I think all of that, reviewing all of that is very important. And once again, sometimes companies just don't have resources for that. And that's why I like working with them. I can help them.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. On your first point, there's that saying, right? You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You
Exactly.
want
Yeah.
people around you that are helping you be smarter. And it sounds like your company can be part of that team to help them. work the most efficiently that they can. And then, the optimization piece, like you mentioned, something that I'm sure companies have, which is that tech redundancy, where maybe you have
I've seen it a
more.
lot.
Yeah, I can just think back to working in corporate. We all have those tools that the company would pay for, and we're like, well, we don't use that because you could use this other
Yeah.
program and do it all in one. But like you said, a lot of companies may not have either the expertise or the time to focus on, really doing that deep dive
Yeah.
and figuring out, where could they maybe get rid of some stuff. So awesome. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
I agree. I've seen that with many of my clients, and also honestly, as you said, in your previous job was corporate and my previous organization, I've seen that there as well, just because we would get different tools, and then afterwards we would realize they actually, some of them overlap in their capability. So okay, like why
Right.
do we have all of them? And that's why I come in now.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm thinking back to this one email tool that we had as a recruiter, and I remember my boss always like pushing us on using it, and we're like, why would we use that? Because you can get it this other way through this other program that we already
Yeah,
use. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we kind of wasted our
it
money.
happens.
But yeah, you don't know unless you have those experts going in and looking at everything.
Yeah.
Awesome. So pivoting a little bit to going back on that ROI and measuring success, aside from project completion, how do you measure success for your clients, and what outcomes really matter for you at the end of the day?
Well, I would say it's never just checking the box that we've done the project, we completed it, we're moving on. For us, it's always building a relationship. And I've seen many times when we start with, let's say, just one project, for example, AWS optimization that I was mentioning earlier. But then because clients really like working with us, we usually end up looking at the whole IT environment, everything they have. And pretty much seeing where else can we optimize, where else can we help them and advise them with choosing the right technology, having the right technology, monitoring and managing it correctly, and also not overpaying. That's a very important part. And I think what really matters to me is that when clients actually come back to us, and they come back not only for just more support, but because they truly see us as a strategic partner that can help them achieve their goals and their success, and wherever they are in their stage of the company, we're there for them to help.
Yeah, I think
It's a
that's
lasting value.
yeah, huge measuring stick there. If people are continuing and coming back to work for you, because I can imagine it's not a one and done process.
Yeah,
Particularly if companies are in growth mode. Like maybe you come in and do an assessment for them, and then next year they've grown exponentially. They probably need to look at it again,
exactly.
because they're basically a different company at that stage. So
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
All right, cool. How about do you have a client story or anything that you can share with us that you're particularly proud of, and kind of walk us through the background and kind of what you did to help?
Yeah, well, I think number one is the one that I mentioned about AWS, just because they were fundraising, and I think I'm quite proud of that one. It was a
Yes.
big win for us. Another one that comes to mind would be actually someone who is building their own product, and they're in the very first stages right now, and they just pretty much need to create their own app and website for the product. And then they're actually doing fundraising right now as well, but that's a little bit separate in this story. And then for them specifically, we're helping them build that app and everything that's included there. We're doing 4 different phases of implementation. And then I would say that's not really a regular business what we help with, because usually we focus on cloud infrastructure, on security, on different softwares, different IT and business applications. So this is a little bit different, but then it's a very, very interesting product. And just seeing how it grows and how we're able to help them basically build it from scratch, that's truly amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine jumping in at the beginning stage. I know my clients that I started with them at the very beginning, like
Mhm.
helping and watching them grow is really exciting. It's a different experience
Yeah.
and very rewarding. So that's great that you picked that one. You mentioned the fundraising piece, which is super interesting. Do you have a lot of people that tend to have kind of that side of things that they're dealing with as well, or does it just kind of
No, it
exist?
honestly just it happened to be. It happened to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, and both of the examples, they're just one of the companies, it was they were already kind of along the way of their not the first fundraise, let's put it that way. And
Okay.
then this one is the very first one, and it's a brand new company. So honestly, it just happened to be. We do
Yeah.
work with SMB, so
Okay.
in small enterprises as well. So it really depends on where they are in their journey and what are their needs. But as I said, a lot of software, a lot of cloud infrastructure, that's honestly where we strive and where we can truly see the value and help our clients.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. So looking ahead, are there any emerging technologies that you think will impact business operations in the next 5 or so years? What's kind of on your radar and what are you thinking about for the future?
Great question. Well, I think maybe an obvious one, AI and automation.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
every conversation involves AI right now, and honestly, especially generative AI, intelligent workflows, and these tools are reshaping how businesses work, how they handle all of the different parts of business, customer success, data
Mhm.
analysis, even sales or content creation, which is very familiar to you.
Yes.
All of that is very relevant. And I think the winners in business are going to be the businesses that actually implement the software smartly, and they
Mhm.
know exactly what the goal is and work off the goal, right? It's not about just implementing software, it's knowing why we're implementing software, AI, whatever it is. And I think another important part, actually, I was at this AI conference recently, and there was a really great talk for the public sector and government. And they were talking about how important it is to actually educate employees and their clients and just citizens pretty much on AI and why we're implementing AI, how can it help? And I think a lot of people are scared that AI will take their jobs, but I do believe that, someone needs to set up a job for AI. Someone needs to review what AI actually did and to
Mhm.
make sure that the outcomes are correct, exactly what's expected, and it's aligned with the business goals and value. So I'm not scared that AI will take my job, honestly. You just need to know how to use it. You need to keep learning and staying ahead of the emerging technologies pretty much, and AI and the AI startups and whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think you hit on something really important there. And, right now, the new technology is AI. It's scary for people because it's new. Some people know it more than others. And there's a fear that, your job is going to go away. But I'm sure it was the same thing when like computers came about,
Yeah.
right back in the day. And people used to have jobs where there wasn't even email. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be new and emerging technology. And like you mentioned, like there will be new roles that we can't even think of right now that are going to come about because AI is here to stay. Like it's not going anywhere. And we might run into things where we need like compliance officers that go in and just make
I already
sure.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's super important for people to remember. Some jobs are going to go away. That's just the nature, but that always happens.
That just honestly, that's also the nature and how we evolve in our jobs
Exactly.
and in our careers and the businesses. And I actually had a client recently who asked me which AI tools we help with, and the answer can be so broad. I pretty much answered was the question, what are you looking for? Why do you ask me that? Because all of the kinds of software in the market, they do have some kind of AI built in already. So it's
Hmm.
all about what kind of automation and AI you're looking for. How is it going to help you? What's the business process initially? And what are you looking to have it as, right? And then that's why I think working with IT brokers such as ourselves or consultancies is very important, because that's a
Mhm.
strategic partner of yours that can help you guide you in the right direction with all of the emerging technologies as well.
Yeah, I can see how it would be extremely useful for, someone high up. Like you said, the CTO doesn't know everything about
Yeah.
technology. So obviously they have a lot
They
of
do know a
knowledge.
lot, but
Yeah, they have a
need
lot of
help.
knowledge, but if they're a CTO, like, depending on how large the company is, I mean, I'm sure they have their hand in a lot
Yeah.
of different things. So they're not going to have the specialized knowledge that, someone like yourself does. That, like you said, like, oh, what AI technology? Well, what are you trying to do? like you have to start with that end goal in mind. Like, what are we trying to achieve? And just buying a technology, it may work, but it may be the totally wrong thing. So,
Yeah,
um,
you're right.
awesome. All right. Um, so my last question for you was how you envision the role of an IT broker like yourself evolving with AI coming into the world and really coming into most businesses. Do you see your role kind of changing or shifting in the future?
I think it's just going to be keep growing and evolving. It's kind of to summarize everything I said earlier. It's not just
Yeah.
about deploying some technology. It's about driving business transformation, staying competitive, knowing what's your goal, what's your business value that you're looking for, and working towards that. And I do think that IT brokers such as myself, we help organizations navigate the complex AI landscape that we just discussed, or any other technology. So that way we can ensure that the right technology is in place, it's managed correctly, it's aligned with those business goals. I will not get tired of saying that. And yeah, I think that's the most important part. And as their strategic partner, we're there to help and guide them. And I think that technology brokers and consultants are the key partners to help unlock the full potential of emerging technologies, AI, or honestly, even everyday technologies that we have, to make sure we utilize them correctly. And I guess also to add to that, I collaborate with my clients, with CTOs, CIOs, other IT leaders all the time, and also early adopters of the technology, which also helps me to know what's actually working in real time and how other businesses get value. So when I start working with the new client, I will know, okay, so this is what I implemented in the past. This is what worked, and that's how we can do it and will do it. And that's where my recommendations also comes from. And that's how kind of I can filter of, what's actually just hype on the market and what's truly valuable to businesses. So that way our clients get relevant, forward-looking technology solutions that drive results.
Yeah, that's huge to be able to say, well, I actually have experience. I did it with, XYZ
Yeah.
company. Here's what we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
a
honestly,
goal.
a lot of my clients ask for examples for other case studies, which we already have. So that's amazing because they have an example, they can see what's been done and what they could do for themselves as well. And, the conference I mentioned, I always love to go to different networking and conference events just because that also allows me to learn more from other experts and share my experience as well.
Yeah, good point. Awesome. I love that. Well, you brought a ton of information for us today. So, how can people that are watching connect with you if they are interested in your services or just getting to know more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my LinkedIn, I try to grow it as much as I can. I'm really active there. So, Nataliya Byelokurova on LinkedIn. People feel free to connect with me, as well as our website is a really great resource, techlaunchsolutions.com. Just because there you can find all of the different technologies we work with, our marketplace with over 700 providers, and you can contact us there as well. For more information, once again, services are free. We're there to help other businesses grow. And yeah, it's all about relationships and growing together.
Awesome. All right, that is awesome. We will also, if you go to the original post, Nataliya's link is there. So you can click on that and connect with her on LinkedIn for sure. So thank you so much for joining us today. I definitely love the conversation. Such a great resource. And hopefully we will get some people that, this is a light bulb moment for them. They'll connect
I
with
hope
you
so.
and
Yeah,
get
it was
started.
a great conversation. Thank you so much for the invite.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining and listening. If you enjoyed today's conversation and you want to hear more people like Nataliya giving us insights on data, IT technology, AI, all the good stuff, please make sure that you follow our company page at Orlando Insight Group. We do these conversations about once a week or so, and we would love to see you in the next one. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Like, support, share.